and developed a passion for photography, which led her to create the series Bits of Bornu. Since 2015, she has been taking pictures of residents with a mission to change the perception behind Boko Haram and those who are affected. Please, a round of applause for Fati this afternoon.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me. I will be speaking explicitly about the Northeast because that is the area that I'm very much passionate about, and that is in Nigeria currently a location that has been devastated by Boko Haram. Boko Haram is in its 9th year this year, and we have seen in our community a devastation of every single sector, the education sector, the health sector, generally our economy. I would say the bomb blast is a bomb to our economy and a bullet to our psyche, because it's also a mental and physical destruction of our whole community. We're dealing with trauma, a lot of psychosocial issues, not only our community. And what is the problem with radicalization? Radicalization started because of a simple fact that we did not invest in young people. We did not invest in our community. They did not have access to education. They did not have access to good health care. There was a lot of idleness, and that breeded the radicalization. It gave models that were wrong young role models. People were able to look up to individuals that were not productive to the society, and they were integrated into a sect that has destroyed our community. And I know that this is investment in people, and it is cliche to talk about it, but essentially the problem for us in our community is the fact that we did not invest in our education. Educational sector took a hit during Boko Haram, and it is continuously taking a hit. And what are the problems and the priorities that we're having right now? We're focusing entirely on ensuring that there's enough security for children to go back to school. And investment in young people is the only way that we're able to not only counter violent extremism, but ensure that in the future we do not have issues with radicalization. And for me, the priorities right now are not only structured education, and I know everywhere I go to, one of my favorite quotes is by Malala: Eastern or Western education, and education is an education. And the problem we've had in the Northeast is focusing entirely on structured education, telling everyone to go back to school. Structured education does not work for everyone. There is informal education where people go back to the farms. We are agricultural in our nature, in our community. And I am personally advocating for people to focus on not only structured learning, but informal structured learning. So when we're investing in people, we have to look at unconventional ways of ensuring that there's a productive community. And what ways can we do that? What ways can we do that? We can invest in agriculture. We can invest in skill acquisition. Skill acquisition, there's so many industries that young people can go into. And in the past, from the beginning of Boko Haram, we did not focus on that. Young people in our community do not have role models to look up to, especially in farming, especially in the art scene. And right now we're having people who have degrees that they're not using. So if we focus entirely on education, what kind of education are we focusing on? For me, the main priority right now is to address the social inequalities that we have, not only in education, but in health as well. I trained as a nurse, and my master's is in public health. So when you look at the social inequalities that are creating these problems for us, we have to address those first. If you're an elite, you have access to the best schools. If you're poor, you cannot get the ability to even pay your school fees. So investment not only focuses on what we are going to invest in, like education and health, we have to address the social inequalities that are the causes of these problems that we're having. For us, our main focus is ensuring that young people are not radicalized. And how do we do that? We educate young people. We create opportunities for acquisition of skills. We create fellowships and leadership initiatives where people can go and train to know how to be leaders. One of my initiatives that I particularly love is the Obama Foundation, that is focusing on creating and grooming young leaders so that they become the change that they want to see within their communities. And I think that is something that we have not focused on in Nigeria. And the other issue is accessing health that is accessible for all communities. We currently have, what is working for us here in the Northeast is community volunteers and people who are able to go to rural areas. They are not really highly skilled health professionals, but the doctors that we have trained, the nurses that we have trained, are going to these communities and equipping people in the rural areas with basic first aid and ensuring that when the doctors leave and there's an emergency, these people are able to take over before we can access health. So I think that skilled and unskilled labor should be a priority when we're investing in people. Thank you very much.